Hi, my name is Seah, Head of Operations at my drum school, and I'm so excited today because I just got for myself a brand new Roland TD17-KV electronic drum kit. So before we get into the unboxing of this wonderful instrument, these are 6 essential items that you may need to get yourself started. You require a carpet or a mat to put your electronic drums on, because if you don't, your whole drums and your bass drum pedal will very likely move as you are playing. Worse still, the bass drum pedal itself can scratch your house floor. As you can see, there are spikes at the bottom of the bass drum pedal which is meant to hold itself steady on the carpet itself. Alternatively, you can choose to purchase a noise eater that's available at our MDS store. This will serve as a platform to hold your bass drum steady, and it will also absorb vibrations produced by your bass drum. If you need to refer to your notes while you are playing your drums, we highly recommend that you purchase for yourself a music stand so that you can refer to your notes while you are playing. One of the great benefits of owning an electronic set is that you can play with music really easily. But before we make that happen, these are some important items that you need. You need a 3.5mm cable, a 1/4 inch converter, and depending on the music device that you're using, you need the relevant connectors. For my case, I'm using an iPhone, so I will need this lightning converter. And all these can be purchased at any electronic store like Challenger. There are 2 ways of getting sound out of your electronic set. The first way is through headphones. Most headphones come with a 3.5mm jack. More importantly, you need to make sure that you have your 1/4 inch converter so that you can plug it into your module. The benefits of using the headphones is that you can practice late into the night and still not disturb your family members. The second option is through speakers. Now, what I have here is a Roland PM100 personal monitor. And the good thing about speakers is that you can play in front of your friends and family members. So let me explain a bit of the features. Now, this Roland PM100 has 2 line inputs. First, the V drums, where you can connect your drums, and the second line input is where you can connect another music instrument like an e-guitar or a keyboard, and you can even jam along with your friends. This will also be a great investment if you are planning to sign up for a virtual recital, because we will need to hear the surrounding drum sounds inside your video submissions. Do take note that in order to connect your speaker to the module of your e-kit, you would need a set of 1/4 inch music cables that can be purchased at music shops. These are the 4 items that you need for your drum kit setup. First, we have our bass drum trigger. Next, we have our hi-hat pedal, our power cable, and lastly, our drum key. So with these 4 items ready, let's get started with the setup. So here we are. I have set up my electronic kit and I've made it such that it mimics the acoustic set as much as possible. So let's first talk about the top part of the drums. Make sure that your crash cymbal and your right cymbals are at your preferred heights. You can adjust them with the knobs below here. And now we move on to our rack toms. Make sure they are not facing directly on top of the ceiling or even too low down. Get them at an angle so it will be easier for you to reach to those toms as you are playing. Then we move on to the floor tom and our snare drum. For me, a personal preference that I like is to just make sure that these 2 drums are slightly higher than my knees. Okay? Remember, when you set up your own personal e-kit, it's really up to you and your preference on the heights that you want your drums at. Lastly, when we talk about the bass drum, make sure that there is sufficient space in between your snare drum and your floor tom, so that your knees won't get into the way and hit these 2 drums as you're playing your bass drum. Now let's move on to the pedals. Firstly, when you receive your e-kit, most of your drum pads are connected to the designated cables except for 2, which is your bass drum trigger and your hi-hat controller. Let's talk about the bass drum first. As you can see, this cable here, KIK, this represents your kick drum. You need to connect this cable to your bass drum trigger. Hole can be found right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna connect it in, and we are done for the bass drum pedal, and I will just simply adjust it back into position. Next, we talk about the hi-hat controller. The hole is located at the side here. Okay, and so we find our hi-hat controller cable, HHC, and we simply connect it into the hole here, and we place it back into position. Once your power cable is plugged in, simply press the power button until it switches on. For this particular model, we do not require the 1/4-inch converters to plug in our headphones and our MP3 device, so that's good news for us. So if we want to plug in our headphones, just find phones and plug your headphones in. And for a music device, just simply find mix in and plug our cable in. And lastly, for speakers, look for master output mono and plug our 1/4-inch cable in. So we've come to the end of the video. That is how it sounds like when it's just with our headphones. So now I will switch on my speakers.
3, 4.